As we enjoy this last long weekend of summer, there are indications that different growth rates might have peaked. So, if you look at the manufacturing growth rate, the inflation expectations, or the earning expectations, it looks like we won't be growing as fast as we have done in the earlier quarters. And that is the main message that's coming from the data from the month of July. Greetings, viewers. You're watching Aman Sanga, Independent Financial Advisor in Mississauga, Ontario. For my update today, I will be, as always, breaking it up into three main components. And I start with the index returns, which I quickly catch up on the developments till the year. I spend some time on where we are with vaccinations and what that means, and this will tie up a little bit later into the potential risks we see ahead. And I'll touch upon the main theme from the data for July, which is about peaking of the growth expectations. So let's get started with the index returns, and I'll go back to the point about uh, the inflation and growth, which I'll again be touching up shortly. But you can see that if you've been following the data, the bonds have recovered some of their lost territory. These numbers were almost double it a few months back, and they have been posting positive returns, and that's because the interest rates have been falling. The equities have had a decent run in their local currencies, and they continue to do well. And So there's no surprise here. The other part, there's no changes here from the story from earlier part of the year. The question is how much of this is held up in the last few months of 2021. Now, let me get to the COVID and where we are with vaccinations. We are seeing certain spike in certain countries, and I'll come back to this as I conclude the update. But I'll start with the good news first. Canada has come a long way. About 57% of our population is now fully vaccinated, which is second behind Chile, where it's about 63%. And more importantly, it's much ahead of US, where it's kind of stagnated at about 48, 49%. So this is really good stuff in terms of what Canada has been able to achieve. It just seemed improbable a few months ago, but a lot of ground has been covered here in Canada, and that's good news for what's to come in the fall. Now, I want to get on to the main theme, which is the peaking of growth rates. It doesn't mean that there is no growth going forward. It's just that we are not growing as fast as we were going in the earlier months of the year. And this is the first thing we are seeing in the manufacturing part, which it grew less from the prior months in the year. So that's the first indication, the manufacturing part. And then this is a survey of fund managers, which they're reporting their expectations of profit earnings as well as for inflation. And you can clearly see that the peaks were hit in parts of Q1 and Q2. And now we are seeing that the fund managers, at least, are not expecting as much earnings growth as we have already seen, or how much inflation we have already seen in the first two quarters. And not only is in the expectations, if we look at the actual interest rates, the 10-year yields across government bonds, if you look at it, they have been trending downwards. And it's with US and Canada specifically that we are seeing this downward trend. Now, hopefully it holds uh, and inflation is controlled. But this is something that we need to keep an eye out for. Now, this also gets tied into the part about what happens to the rest of the year. Now, this is a plot of the S&P of how it fared in the 12 months, plotted over, averaged out over the past 30 odd years. And what you can see is there is a run up into the summer, it flatlines during the summer, and then it picks up again in the last few months of the year. Um, there is no guarantee that 2021 will replicate this model, but I am an optimistic. I think that this could really happen again. but there is a big catch, and that's to do with the vaccinations. And I'll just hone in on this again. Vaccinations in the US have become highly politicized, and this is a graph from IA where they plotted the Democrat or the blue states, and you can look at their vaccination rates are really high or comparatively high compared to the vaccination rates in the Republican or the red states. And when you look at the instances of where the new cases are coming from, a high proportion of them are focused on the low vaccination, and a low proportion is attributed to um, the population that has been highly vaccinated. So just to conclude, I want to say that COVID, its variant Delta, or any other variant that might come down the line, still pose a potent threat to a future lockdown if the cases were to spiral out of control. Having said that, that there might be common sense that prevails and people can get their act together and have their vaccinations done so that we can resume our life in the normal fall. And I'm really hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that's what happens. I want to conclude by saying enjoy the rest of the summer. Or it's been a bit rainy here in Ontario, but still these are beautiful sunny days. We get so few of them, so go out there, enjoy, stay safe. If you haven't been vaccinated, get vaccinated, and we'll catch up again in the month for in the month of September with my August update. Bye for now, and thank you for watching.